Did you know that America, the land of the free, has some of the most bone-chilling ghost stories in the world? From its bloody founding to its sprawling westward expansion, every chapter of its history is stained with tales that will make your skin crawl. Today, we're diving deep into the dark side of American history, exploring the terrifying true stories that have haunted the nation for centuries. Forget what you learned in history class. These are the stories they were too scared to tell you. Let's start our journey in the colonial era, a time of witch trials and unexplained phenomena. The Salem witch trials of 1692 are infamous, but the horror didn't end when the trials did. Take the story of Giles Corey, a farmer accused of witchcraft. He refused to enter a plea, so the authorities subjected him to a gruesome punishment called pressing, where heavy stones were placed on his chest. For 2 days he endured the agony, his only words being, "More weight." It's said his vengeful spirit still roams the Howard Street Cemetery in Salem, his ghostly figure appearing as a bad omen before major disasters in the town. Locals claim to have seen him just before the Great Salem Fire of 1914. Coincidence? Or a curse from beyond the grave? Then there's the tale of the Bell Witch, a story so terrifying it's said to have inspired films like The Blair Witch Project. In the early 1800s, the Bell family of Adams, Tennessee, began experiencing strange disturbances. It started with knocking sounds and the feeling of being watched. Soon, an invisible entity, which called itself Kate, started to speak. This wasn't a friendly ghost. Kate would physically assault the family, pulling their hair, pinching them, and slapping them. The primary target was the daughter, Betsy Bell, and her father, John Bell. The entity tormented John Bell relentlessly, eventually poisoning him. His death in 1820 was the first and only case in U.S. history where a death was officially attributed to a spirit. Even future President Andrew Jackson, who was a general at the time, visited the Bell farm to investigate. But he and his men were so spooked, they reportedly fled in terror. As America grew, so did its collection of haunted places. The Revolutionary War left behind more than just a new nation. It left behind legions of restless spirits. In Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, the site of the Civil War's bloodiest battle, the echoes of war have never truly faded. Over 50,000 soldiers died in just 3 days, and their souls seemed to be trapped on the battlefield. Visitors to Devil's Den, a rocky hill used by sharpshooters, report hearing gunfire, smelling gunpowder, and seeing apparitions of soldiers in Confederate uniforms. Some have even had conversations with these ghostly figures, only for them to vanish into thin air. One popular story involves a reenactor who met a friendly but disheveled soldier who handed him a few musket cartridges. When the reenactor took them to an expert later, he was told they were authentic, perfectly preserved Civil War-era ammunition. The soldier he met was nowhere to be found. Let's move west, to the wild frontier, a land of gold rushes, outlaws, and, you guessed it, more ghosts. The city of Bodie, California, is a perfect example. Once a bustling gold mining town with a reputation for lawlessness, it's now one of America's best-preserved ghost towns. But the term ghost town might be more literal than you think. Legend says that anyone who takes anything from body, even a rock or a rusty nail, will be cursed with terrible luck. The park rangers have a binder full of letters from people who stole items and begged to return them. These letters detail a string of misfortunes, job losses, illnesses, accidents, and broken relationships. They all claim the bad luck started the moment they took a souvenir from Bodie, and it only stopped when they sent it back. It seems the spirits of the old miners are still jealously guarding their town. Of course, we can't talk about American horror without mentioning its haunted houses. The LaLaurie Mansion in New Orleans is perhaps the most infamous. In the 1830s, Madame Delphine LaLaurie was a respected socialite, known for her lavish parties. But behind closed doors, she was a monster. A fire in 1834 exposed her horrific secret. When neighbors rushed in to help, they broke down a locked door to the attic and discovered a torture chamber. Enslaved people were found chained, mutilated, and in gruesome conditions that are too disturbing to detail fully. Madame LaLaurie fled the city and was never brought to justice. Ever since, the mansion has been a hotspot of paranormal activity. Passers-by report hearing agonizing screams from the house at night. Figures have been seen in the windows, and people who have lived there have reported being attacked by unseen forces. The sheer evil that took place within those walls seems to have permanently scarred the property. Another iconic haunted location is the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. After the sudden death of her husband and infant daughter, Sarah Winchester, heiress to the Winchester rifle fortune, consulted a psychic. The psychic told her she was being haunted by the spirits of everyone killed by a Winchester rifle. The only way to appease them, she was told, was to move west and continuously build a house for them. And build she did. For 38 years, from 1886 until her death in 1922, construction on the mansion never stopped. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The result is a bizarre architectural maze. There are staircases that lead to ceilings, doors that open to blank walls or terrifying drops, and countless secret passages. Sarah believed these confusing designs would confound the angry spirits she was trying to house. Today, visitors and staff report all sorts of strange phenomena: doors slamming on their own disembodied footsteps, organ music playing from the ballroom, and sightings of Sarah Winchester's ghost herself, still wandering the bewildering halls she built to be her eternal prison. Even the seat of American power isn't safe from the supernatural. The White House in Washington, D.C. is said to be one of the most haunted homes in the country. The most famous spectral resident is none other than Abraham Lincoln. His ghost has been spotted by numerous presidents, first ladies, and even visiting dignitaries like Winston Churchill. Churchill was staying in the Lincoln bedroom and had just gotten out of the bath. He walked into the bedroom, naked, and saw Lincoln standing by the fireplace. Churchill, in his classic style, simply said, "Good evening, Mr. President. You seem to have me at a disadvantage." Lincoln's ghost apparently smiled and then vanished. Other staff have reported hearing Lincoln's heavy footsteps pacing the halls and knocking on doors. It seems the 16th president is still concerned with the affairs of the nation, even in death. But it's not just presidents. Dolly Madison, wife of President James Madison, is said to haunt the rose garden she planted. Workmen during Woodrow Wilson's presidency were ordered to dig it up, but they reported being confronted by her angry spirit, and the garden was saved. Andrew Jackson's ghost is supposedly heard stomping and swearing in the Rose Room, his former bedroom. These stories are more than just campfire tales. They're woven into the very fabric of American identity. From the Puritan fears of the devil in the woods to the tortured souls of the Civil War, these paranormal legends reflect the anxieties, tragedies, and unresolved conflicts of the nation's past. They are the dark echoes of history, reminding us that some events are so powerful, so traumatic, that they leave an indelible mark on a place, a mark that time cannot erase. What do you think? Are these just elaborate hoaxes and overactive imaginations, or is there something more to it? Could the land itself hold the memories of the pain and suffering it has witnessed? Next time you visit a historic site, listen closely. You might just hear the whispers of the past calling out from the shadows. The history of America is full of triumphs and progress, but it's also a history written in blood and fear. And sometimes, that history refuses to stay buried. Thanks for joining me on this spooky tour through America's dark past. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss our next deep dive into the world's most chilling mysteries. Let me know in the comments which American ghost story gives you the creeps. Stay curious, and maybe sleep with the lights on tonight. See you next time.